While working with bees, what have been your major learning?
You treat the hive like an organism. Magic of Mother Nature, you know?
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
stuff doesn't make sense, but it works.
Yeah.
Honey,
You work a lot with soil, you outgrow many allergies.
the old ways were the gold ways.
If you have a magic wand or you have a superpower to change one thing about this modern society, what is the one thing you would like to change? Imagine having a dream that you thought you would live after retirement, but life hands it to you 30 years early. That's exactly Aseem's story. Today, he's a farmer, growing vegetable, keeping bees, and realizing and discovering every single day that connecting with nature is not just fulfilling, but it's essential in today's world. So if you have ever wondered what it really means to live closer to the nature, or what do we gain or lose when we step away from it, this episode is for you. So stay with us to listen to the full conversation. When did this idea of having a farm actually came to your mind? Was it like a childhood dream or it came much later? Can you talk about that?
So I was born in India. Everybody was farming like around us. And we come from like a background of farmers. But things kind of changed after the Green Revolution. People started opting out of farming because it was not as profitable.
After Green Revolution?
Yeah, so after Green Revolution, what happened was Mexico and India were sort of the poster child when they started pushing they called it the Green Revolution, but it was more like, using monocrops and using chemicals and pesticides and stuff.
Yes.
And they were pushed pretty hard. So before that, they were not using pesticides and chemicals
As much.
and the farming was not just based on just growing one type of crop. It was mainly focused on having biodiversity, because that was the only model that worked for people. But they were not able to farm in a big areas. They didn't even have tractors like back in the day, right? So like our families had been like farming for thousands of years, and then it changed after the Green Revolution, because at first people saw a lot of profits, but then later on, as the soil started to degrade, and then it was not profitable anymore. So then a lot of people started opting out. My dad being one of the first ones, he opted out. He went to Air Force because it was not cutting the bills anymore.
Yeah.
Like before there was so much abundance, and things kind of took a turn. For the most part, everybody kind of looked at planet Earth like, this is the resources, we're never going to run out of them. I think they always looked at it that way.
Yes.
It doesn't matter which field, like water, fisheries, like agriculture, everybody kind of looked at it that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's the revolution starting to happen now. Like more and more people are starting to get aware with like social media as well. And there's enough research-based studies done that shows, like the old ways were the gold ways.
What was the first thing that you tried on your farm?
First thing was like I thought about just growing vegetables, like that I will like grow vegetables, not just for ourselves, but like commercially as well. Like
Okay.
see like how it would go. And this is coming from like I had never grown vegetables before.
Now coming to the bee farming, that is something I saw for the first time on your farm. Were you not scared of working with so many bees, and how
So
did
I
that?
was very scared at first, because what happened was when I got this hobby farm, there were two old hives in the back field,
Okay.
and there were no bees in there at the time, and I saw them and I didn't think anything of it. And then one day when I was like going by that area, I saw there's bees moved in there now. Like
Okay.
honeybees have moved in. And I could literally smell the honey. And this was like midsummer. So I don't know at what point, but this was the first year in. And then I'm like, I was just curious. I would look at the bees, but I was still kind of scared. I didn't want to get stung. And even when I was like cutting the grass or like, pruning near that area, I would be very careful because there's bees all over the place.
Yeah.
But then I ran into my neighbor, who had it was actually his hives. He had placed them, and he was placing hives like all over the place. He's an older retired guy now. And he's the one that introduced me to beekeeping. I met another commercial beekeeper that I bought my hives from, and I said, can I come volunteer with you? And his name is Peter Chorobik. He's an amazing guy, really good-hearted guy. And he's like, yeah, come on in, like I'll come volunteer with me. So I almost did like a full season with him.
Okay.
and I went beekeeping, and he has like over like, I think now he's at 1,500 hives himself.
Okay.
So within,
And how many bees are there in one hive usually?
you can have anywhere from like 50,000 bees in one hive usually,
Okay. And
but
how
the number
many-
number goes down and up.
Okay.
Like for example, in winter time the number goes down substantially, and then springtime, come like midsummer, it really increases.
Okay.
So you know, like I'm just telling you like on average.
So Aseem, I was reading that every third bite that you eat, a bee is responsible, or some kind of pollinating insect is responsible for it, and it was very fascinating.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Bees play a very significant role
Yeah.
in pollinating our food, and you know, like I said before, people don't realize how big of a role they actually play. And you know, even beekeeping as a hobby, like even if you had one hive, let's say collectively, even in a community, let's say you were able to get space, even if you can't have it in your own backyard, you can always get together. I think they are wonderful little nature's fairies,
Yes.
you know, and I think everybody should experience it. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of the best hobbies I think you could have.
So you told me that you were stung by a bee. Does it happen on a daily basis, or
It almost happens on a daily basis, yeah.
really every
Yeah.
day you got a bee stung?
Yeah, there's one odd day where I won't get stung. Bees usually they only sting you when you know grab one by mistake, and I like to work mostly barehanded, and then or I use like nitrile, like you know, disposable gloves. But you can still feel everything with your hands, and you can get stung right through those gloves. The only reason you use those gloves are for like proper hygiene,
Hygiene.
between different, because I have bees in different farms now. So let's say, you know, one yard, let's say if they had a certain disease, then you don't want to keep passing it on. So there's two ways: either you wash your hands all the time, you know, but sometimes, you know, going from yard to yard, you don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
So sometimes you use those gloves, but either way, like I find that working bare hands with bees the best, because then you respect them more, and you tread more gently. My major learning is like how inclusive they are, because a hive is not like about one individual bee. It's like
Group of-
it's a hive is an organism, right? And most of the beekeepers, they know this really well. Like you treat the hive like an organism, but the organism in 50,000 different little parts,
Yeah.
right? And when I look at them, and you know, I was thinking about it too. A lot of times I think about it. I'm like, and planet Earth is also like that. You know, we're just one big hive.
Yes.
So I think the biggest thing I'm still learning from the bees and trying to apply it is you know, being inclusive and learning that, you know, there's a lot of different moving components within a hive, but the bees, they just know what they're supposed to do. As soon as they're born, they just know. So they're no different than human beings. Whatever we are passionate about, sometimes we don't pursue that. Like, you know, some guys, they're passionate about certain sports. Some people are passionate about some other things. Some people are good at business, whatever you're passionate about. I think that's sort of your role in the hive on planet Earth. And you're just supposed to do that to the best of your, you know, your capabilities, instead of like trying to copy other people or seeing like, hey, that guy's making so much money, so I should be doing the same, like, you know, versus that.
Yeah.
You know, you should just explore what excites you the most, and
Yes.
that's your role, like, you know, in the bee world, like, because they're born and they know, okay, am I supposed to, you know, be a nursing bee, or am I gonna go get nectar? They have different roles.
Oh, really?
So the bees have different roles,
Wow.
but as soon as they're born, they already know.
What kind of roles?
So some bees are they're nurses, so they're just feeding other bees. You know,
Okay.
some bees, they're guard bees. They will only guard. So they'll come out and they'll, like, you know, they're just on guard. Like, let's say some animals come, like a raccoon comes, he wants the honey. They're just on the guard. They'll give their life up, because as soon as they sting, they die, right?
Did I? Yeah.
Then you have the foragers. The foragers, they always go and collect nectar.
Okay.
You know, and
so
then
3 categories majorly.
yeah, and then some, and you know what? These are like, I'm telling you, like really basic ones. There's even more, because like look at the job they do, like pollination, you know, and we won't have any food. People don't realize how important their role is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for apples, almonds, cherries, blueberries, like even vegetables that we get, like,
Yeah.
you know, day to day, we won't have them without pollination.
Yes.
Like, you know, I think most of the people have heard, like, if there's no bees, our world would collapse.
Yes.
But it's very true, you know, and it comes down to not just the honeybees, it's like pollinators in general.
Yeah.
They play a very, very substantial role. And what happens is, when we're using chemicals, harsh chemicals, and we're growing just one type of crop, we're basically not just degrading the soil, we're also killing off these insects. So they don't have good habitats for them to thrive. And, you know, and it's funny enough, like our bodies work the same way. You know, like I had like allergies before, and somebody told me, like, he's like, oh, you should be taking probiotics, you know, because it has like good, or eat lots of yogurt and stuff. So which I did, and I started eating a lot of honey as well. So I don't know which one helped me, you know, to tell you the truth. But I did both, and I was, you know, obviously I was beekeeping, using a lot of honey, and I took probiotics. And my allergies, I would say like 99% are gone.
When you work a lot with soil, you outgrow many allergies. I have read it.
You know what, that's probably true as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different, like, I don't know which one worked, but like something worked. Magic of Mother Nature, you know.
Yes.
A lot of stuff doesn't make sense, but it works.
Yeah.
You know, like I found that too, like every time I'm gardening, or I put my hands in the soil, or I plant a tree or something, like my meditation feels much better. I'm more grounded,
deeper.
you know, and my wife said the same thing as well, you know, so obviously there is a link to it.
I was talking to one of my teachers. He also live in Himachal, rural areas, and they have apple farms. So he was telling me one thing he notices in his kids is that there is no need of instant gratification, because when you live on farms, the kids who grow on farms, they already have this delayed gratification, because you sow a seed and it takes a while for them to sprout or become a tree, and for a tree to give fruits. So that was very fascinating. Actually, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, my little one, like, you know, sometimes I've seen her, we were planting garlic, this was like a couple of years ago, and I think she was maybe like 5 or 6 at the time. She's 7 now.
Okay.
And there were earthworms like coming out, and like, and you know, when the whole Save Soil movement started too, I was always telling her, like, you know, everything about soil, and like we sang like songs about Save Soil together, and like, you know, she's very aware. Every time she's eating food, I'm like, where is the food coming from? And she's like, oh, like it's coming from the Mother Earth, you know, from the soil. And I remember there were like a lot of earthworms at the time, and I told her like how important their role is, like, you know, for making the soil better for us, and you know, they're working hard. And then she was just grabbing one and saying thank you to the earthworm, like kissing it literally, you know. And I don't think, like, you know, city kids would usually do something like that, you know, or they might be grossed out by something like that.
I'm sure there would be many differences that you would be noticing between your daughter, who is growing up on a farm, and, you know, in comparison to other kids of your friends or relatives who are in cities. So what are the major differences that you see?
I think the major difference is, like, you know, being a bit fearless about death.
Yes.
Because we used to have chickens back in the day, and then some, you know, animal would come and kill a chicken, and we would find the carcass or like the dead body of the chicken there. Then we would take it and we would go bury it, you know, where the coyotes come by. And I keep telling her, I'm like, you know, like at first she was saddened by it. Then I'm like, you know, this is part of life. Everything that lives has to die.
Yes.
You know, that's part of it. And I'm always harping on it, and, you know, letting her know, like, sometimes we're walking in our backfield and you see like down trees, and they're literally, the moss has taken over and they're literally turning into earth. You can see it. It looks really beautiful through the process itself. As years are progressing, she's making her peace, and she understands that fact.
Yeah.
And she, you know, she's curious, because always talking about like older people. She's like, oh, like, you know, talking about like Dadi, like, oh, you know, she's getting old, is she gonna die soon? I'm like, eventually she will. You know, like, it's, we can't predict it, and we shouldn't be anticipating it either.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it'll come when it's time, you know? So stuff like that, I think, like, conversations like that just happen organically, naturally with the kid in like a setting like that, because life and death are very intertwined on a farm life. And you see that on a daily basis. And like, even with beekeeping, like, a lot of bees die. And, you know, one cute thing was, I remember with my daughter, was like, we remember there was a bee that kind of like fell on her back and was kind of stuck in a little bit of honey that dripped. and then another bee came, and my daughter's like watching this, right? And I'm watching it, and it was like a very surreal moment. Another bee came and literally like helped her get out, and then
Okay.
both the bees like flew away.
Flew away.
And then she saw it, she's like, "Did you see that, Dada? Like that was so cool!" Like she was like so amazed by it, and it was a cool moment even for me. Like I'm like, yeah, like, you know. And yeah, like stuff like that. She notices a lot more stuff, and she makes me notice stuff, you know,
Ah.
because she's always more in the moment.
So, Aseem, if you have a magic wand, or let's say you have a superpower to change one thing about this modern society or people living in cities, what is the one thing you would like to change?
I think I would, the same thing I said before about, like, you know, being able to follow the model of like a beehive, like just being inclusive and treating like Mother Earth like as our planet, rather than, you know, having any segregations based on any like countries or religions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think Mother Earth is so abundant and it has so much to give that nobody could go hungry.
Yeah.
You know, like it really has so much. It's just about us figuring it out as a hive together, being like becoming conscious. You know, conscious enough, aware enough that hey, if we work together, like nobody has to go hungry. We can all fulfill all our dreams. We can have so much abundance. There's no need for, you know, like any poverty basically. Like I strongly believe, like I know it sounds like a wishy-washy dream sometimes, like, or a tree hugging thing, but I love hugging trees too, you know, but I think it's just, if I did have a magic wand, that would be the best thing.
Yeah,
I would
and you
make
know,
it
you
happen.
remind me of a very beautiful quote. I think it's by Mahatma Gandhi, that this earth has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed.
Yeah,
So-
you know, that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah. People who are living in cities and those who want to connect with nature, maybe we don't have the luxury to have a farm. What is the bare minimum that we all can begin with?
I think the bare minimum without doing anything is like, you know, there doesn't matter where you live. There are trees around, there are birds around, there's like insects around. You could just go to a park and just be with a tree, you know, like touch that tree, be with that tree, notice it, you know, like it's there, like something alive.
Yeah.
You know, and just, you know, that's one really big step. Because I think for the most part, people are just not aware of it. And I was the same way. Not to say like, you know, like, oh, I'm better now. But it's like, I was so unconscious. Like sometimes you're driving on the highway, you don't even notice so many trees are there.
Yes.
There's so many birds out there. There's so much like alive life, like just thriving away, you know.
Yeah.
And then the second step would be, you know, just have a plant inside your home. You could have a herb plant, you could have a plant, you know, that's like very less maintenance. Let's say you have a very busy schedule, you don't want to grow herbs, you don't want to do that. You could just have a plant in your home, and you know, that thing is alive, giving you fresh air.
Yeah.
And it's proven even by like NASA studies. I remember reading one long time ago, and they said, you know, like even their astronauts, when they go up in their spaceship, they send them with like certain plants because they are the best air purifiers. No machine could replicate it.
Yeah.
And they take care of like, and we also have a lot of pollution inside our homes.
Yes.
That's dishwasher, like, you know, like furnaces running, even the drywall, the flooring. We don't realize like how much pollution that's creating inside us.
toxins as
and
well.
toxins as well. So the plants are like, you know, doing a lot more, not just cleaning our air. They can provide you company if you're, you know, consciously aware
Yes.
and really paying attention to the plants.
Yeah. What are some of the easy growing plants which you will recommend to people like me?
So like there's the top three, you know, that produce a lot of oxygen, we're very air purifying, and they don't need much maintenance. Number one is snake plant,
Yeah.
and number two is spider plant, and that also doesn't need much maintenance. And number three is peace lily.
Okay.
And there's another one that I love that plant because it's so easy, doesn't need much light either, is pothos,
Potholes, yeah.
or they have another name for it as well. They call it like
In India, we used to call it money
money
plant,
plant,
but
yeah.
here we have a different money plant.
yeah. The money plant here is a little bit different, yeah.
Yeah, it's just behind you.
Yeah.
The money plant. Like the Canadian money plant
Yeah,
is
yeah,
behind you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like any plant is good, but like these are like very low maintenance. Like the snake plant, for example, you need to water it like maybe once in like I would say 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks is like, that's, even if you're traveling, like that's the easy plant you could have. The only way you kill that plant is by overwatering.
Yes.
So some
I have
plants
done
like
that
that.
too.
Yeah.
I've done that
Sometimes it happens, but that's how you learn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what is one thing that you would recommend to all the parents so that they can help their kids to be more grounded?
I think definitely if you can do some sort of gardening, if you don't have the space, you can always have a couple of pots, some plants, and just telling the kids that our food is, coming from the soil.
Yeah.
And just growing something to show them. Like, for example, there's some very easy plants to grow, like herbs are easy to grow. There's like tomatoes, you can grow potatoes. You can pick whichever one that, you're going to enjoy growing.
Yeah.
And you can grow them even in like a small balcony. Even if you don't have a balcony, if you have a window, you can still grow them, right?
Yeah.
And even if you live in a basement, you have no light, you can get like, a little artificial light from Amazon, and you can still grow it. So there's no excuse for not to grow it.
Growing.
So like I think with kids, like them realizing where their food is coming from rather than thinking it's coming from the
store,
the stores.
Yes,
I think they need
and
to
actually,
know.
I got surprised that some kids really think that food comes from stores, not from soil.
Yeah.
I mean, we think it's very basic, but no, not many kids know that food comes from soil.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think kids also, they need to realize this. Doesn't matter what kind of diet they're eating.
Yeah.
Even if they're on meat diet or vegetarian diet, doesn't matter. But they need to know where the food's coming from.
Yes.
Because that's the first part of becoming grounded, being conscious.
Yeah.
I think COVID was a blessing in disguise in that sense. A lot of people got into gardening.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
And I think it gave everybody a chance to pause.
Yeah.
And reflect on what we are doing. And I have personally seen many people have changed a lot. Many people who were making fun of meditation and they are themselves into meditation. So I know it was a very brutal time, but in some ways it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, 100%. It's, of course, there's always two sides, to any event, but that's definitely the brighter side.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, Aseem, so before we sign out, do you have any message for the parents or kids who are listening to you?
My only message is to, be in the moment when you're out in the nature. So the parents, the kids, everybody, when you guys go to a park, whatever trees, plants, birds, whatever that you see, pay attention to it rather than, just being lost in your mind and your thoughts. And and especially being on phones. Put that stuff away. When you're outside, just be outside, just be there. So that would be my message, because I think nature will do rest.
Yes. Thank you so much, Aseem, for taking out time and coming here on my request. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kritika.